You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And hello, everyone. Great to have you with us, as always, here on the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network's Market Fresh Hour. You've arrived. It is California's #1 place to talk about our state's food and beverage scene with a local, seasonal, and sustainable focus. It's our goal to put you in touch with the farmers who grow, the producers who make, and the people who know about your favorite food and drink. A little healthy twist. Today's show is brought to you by the wonderful crew at San Luis Obispo's Sidecar Restaurant on Broad Street between Higuera and Marsh. A constantly changing menu is what makes this place so great, plus a terrific staff and super fresh local and seasonal food. Later on today's program, we'll have our weekly Farmers Market feature segment, and today we are headed to a popular group of markets that is now taking debit cards. You know, how many times have you been like on your way to go to the farmer's market? You're like, I don't have any cash. Well, this place takes debit cards and also CalFresh payments, which is California's version of basically food stamps. The SNAP program, the federal SNAP program, is called CalFresh here, and then they issue these EBT cards. And so this group of farmers markets will take those as well. The first markets in this part of the state to do so. Also, we'll speak with a registered dietitian who you may have seen on Dr. Oz or the Today Show, some other TV programs. She's been the nutritional consultant for the San Jose Sharks, Golden State Warriors, the Kansas City Chiefs, and is joining us today to talk about the benefits of using honey in your diet. But first up this hour, it's our regular CookWell with Courtney segment. Joining us on the Market Fresh Live line is the lovely Courtney Coleman, who today shares her ideas for making your own cultured grains, a follow-up to her cultured vegetables segment for adding probiotic-rich foods to your diet. Hello, Courtney. Welcome back to Market Fresh.
Hi, Randall. Great to be here.
It's terrific to hear your voice after skipping a week there. I was in Austin, and we had some other guests on the show, but great to have you back as always. So, Courtney, the last time we spoke, you were talking about making things like kimchi and sauerkraut and those sorts of probiotic rich vegetables. I didn't know you could do the same thing with grains.
Oh, yeah. The Viking people have done their sourdough breads and biscuits for hundreds of years, if not thousands, and a lot of different people from all over the world have cultured their fresh ground flours as a way of making the nutrients more bioavailable. The vitamins and minerals are more easily assimilated into the body if you let probiotic bacteria work on the grain and the complex carbs. You let those probiotic bacteria work on that grain for a day, 24 hours or so, and it also makes the grain's carbs more easily digestible. Yeah, I could go into the science of it, and there's certain terms all around that, but basically that's what happened.
Yeah, and we will do that. We will break down how it breaks down, how literally it breaks down. You mentioned a keyword for me, sourdough, and I guess I just didn't think about it. I'm a huge fan of sourdough bread growing up in the Bay Area, and here in California along the coast, we just have some of the best sourdough bread in the nation. In fact, when I moved around initially as a television news anchor, I would, be living in parts of the country where they just didn't have access to that sourdough bread that you can pull right off the store shelf that is in a paper bag, not a plastic bag, and the outer crust is nice and hard and the inside is soft, and it just has that extra sour quality, and I wasn't thinking that I was getting all these terrific probiotics at the same time, so that's good to hear.
Well, you're not actually getting probiotics. They're already dead because they've been cooked,
Aha.
right? But those probiotic bacteria had a chance to pre-digest the complex carbs in the grain for you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So when the body doesn't have to work so hard on digestion, the body's energy is free to go to other areas to heal and balance. That's why it's so important to eat foods that, especially if you're sick and trying to bounce back from an illness or just kind of weak and tired and, you're just not feeling well, eating cooked foods and foods that have been cultured, you get the nutrients much more easily that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So you will go through the steps for doing this at home coming up in our next segment, which I'm excited about. But before we get to that, I want to talk about Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and the last few years we've seen a big rise in the number of people who want to have a traditional Thanksgiving bird on their table. And I mean, they want it to be like really traditional, the old heritage birds, not these birds that have been crossbred a million different ways so that they're out of proportion to how they would be found in nature. So but they're a little different to cook because they have different fat content, all that sort of thing.
Yep, more dark meat.
Yeah, so you have some upcoming cooking classes along that line.
Yes, I'm going to be hosting one here at my house in Los Osos on November 9th with Dana Tried, I think is how you pronounce her last name. But she and her husband Eric own Pozo Organic Farm. And they do beans and squash and corn, all kinds of native edibles up there, but they also raise heritage birds. And she's going to have chickens with her frozen in a cooler to sell to any class participants who want to buy a heritage chicken.
Oh, cool. So Pozo is off of Highway 101 when you're heading, for people familiar with the Cuesta Grade. That's the big, long hill you come down to if you're heading south into San Luis Obispo. Right before you get to the top of the Cuesta Grade, there's a little tiny town called Santa Margarita. And if you head out that direction, you'll end up in a town called Pozo, and they've got a famous saloon there where they have lots of live music and those sorts of things called the Pozo Saloon. And so her farm is in that area. Los Osos is right there by Morro Bay. And how would people get in contact with you, Courtney, if they wanted to book a space for this?
They can go to my website, go to the page, CookWell.org.
Okay.
And then there's a page there on the upper right called Slow Classes.
Okay.
If they click on that and scroll down to November 9th, you'll see all the classes are sequential by date. But if you scroll down to the ones in November, you'll see Fall Festival for cooking heritage chicken or heritage birds. Because I think Dana's going to be here, and she'll be talking about turkey and duck and all different kinds of heritage birds.
Yeah, we did a heritage bird last year. I think it was last year. And I think I should have taken your class first. It was a little on the dry side, if I remember. Yeah. But not too bad,
Yeah. We're going to do 3 different chicken dishes that will teach us how to make it in a crock pot or in the oven, like a classic roast with, carrot, onion, and celery. And then a chicken stir fry.
Oh.
Really super flavorful, like Indian flavors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right, there's the music, Courtney. So cookwell.org, and you can check out Courtney's other classes at the same time. But when we get back from the commercial break here, we will talk about the steps you need to go through to make your own cultured grains at home. We're speaking with CookWell's Courtney Coleman here on Market Fresh. Back in just a moment. Vision to Action is the theme for the 4th annual Central Coast Bioneers Conference, October 25th through the 27th at the Monday Club in San Luis Obispo. Come see the marvelous work being done locally and globally to promote resilient communities and explore new strategies and solutions to combat environmental instability and social inequality. Enjoy field trips, local workshops, inspiring talks by the National Bioneers plenary speakers, music, food, and the green marketplace. In fact, bring your broken items to iFixit's Repair Cafe on Friday, October 25th, where they can show you how to fix just about anything. Also on Friday, meet Bioneers co-founder Nina Simons. Tickets on sale now at centralcoastbioneers.org. This fall, Eat, Drink, Explore Media is teaming up with the nation's leading gift company focused on experiences from skydiving to wine tasting, culinary tours to whale watching. You name the activity, and it's likely you'll find it on the Experience Days website. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to our show, you'll get 15% off anything you buy on the site during the upcoming holiday gift buying season. It's really simple. Just use our 3-letter promo code EDE, which of course stands for Eat, Drink, Explore. Find Experience Days online at the letter Experience Days, all one word.com, or head to our website, eatdrinkexplore.com, and click on the menu tab for holiday gift ideas, and you'll be on your way to finding an abundance of unique gifts and saving a lot of money to boot. Remember the 3-letter promo code EDE for 15% savings on some of the best adventures California has to offer. And welcome back to the program, everyone. Great to have you here on the Market Fresh Hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. We are speaking with CookWell's Courtney Coleman. You can find all of her information online at CookWell.org, including an upcoming class that she's teaching on cooking heritage birds, which have a slightly different cooking time and all those sorts of things because they don't have necessarily the same fat or meat content that you would find on some of the other birds. And a perfect class heading into the month of November and Thanksgiving and those sorts of things. But right now, Courtney joins us to talk a little bit about making cultured grains. You might recall she spoke about making cultured vegetables the last time she was on the show, and this time we move it into the grain category. It sounds like you might be making some as we're talking, Courtney.
I'm mixing chipotle and putting it into my little container that I use for quick access when I'm cooking, which isn't near the heat of my cooking, but it's across the kitchen, but I have a small glass container that I put my chipotle powder in.
I was going to ask if it was powdered or the liquid or the paste kind.
Yeah, no, it's powder.
The powdered version.
Like ground roasted chilies. So good.
Yes, I love it. A lot of people don't even realize that that's a type of prepared chili. They just think it's the name of a burrito chain now. You know?
Yeah.
All right, so Courtney, let's talk about this. Which grains are easiest to use, or are there ones that are used more often when it comes to culturing?
Well, not necessarily. As long as it's ground, and ideally you would be fresh grinding it. You can do this with a newer coffee grinder where the blade hasn't been worn out by too much use.
Mm-hmm.
I got a large coffee grinder at the Kitchen Collection in the Pismo outlets, and there's also a Kitchen Collection store in the Atascadero factory outlets. But they are larger than a normal-sized coffee grinder, and they'll hold about 3/4 of a cup at a time.
Oh, good.
So you can put whole grain millet, whole grain amaranth, whole grain buckwheat, which is gluten-free, even though it has wheat in the name.
I know, that's a confusing one for people. Yeah, buckwheat.
It is. I make these buckwheat and brown rice flour cookies, and people say, oh, but I'm gluten-free. And I say, oh, but buckwheat is a gluten-free grain.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you just mix them with enough water to get a probiotic spread around through that fresh ground, ideally fresh ground flour.
Okay, so you take this.
So if your recipe calls for a cup of water, somewhere in the recipe, like if you were going to, when you go to bake it, the day before, culture it with that amount of water, with either opening a probiotic capsule, one of your supplements, or mixing in a couple tablespoons of a good quality plain cultured yogurt.
Oh, okay.
Or kefir. So a lot of people drink kefir these days. So you can mix in a few tablespoons of that into the flour to let those probiotics go in and work on that flour for you overnight.
And I guess you want to look on the label of whatever you're buying to make sure that what you're buying uses live cultures, right?
Yes, plain cultured yogurt is ideal, and if you are dairy-free, choose a high-quality refrigerated probiotic supplement and just open that capsule, sprinkle it on top of your flour, and use enough water just to get it mixed through, and cover it with a dishcloth because you do want it to be able to breathe, but just put that bowl in your pantry somewhere in a dark, kind of warm place. Remember, with temperature, bacteria have a chance to do their thing. And you're inoculating this flour with the bacterial dance you want to happen. So there's no danger of getting sick from this kind of thing. We're telling it what to do and setting it up. And you put it in your cupboard, and you can let it culture for up to 2 days. And then if you go away and you still want things to culture, you can stick it in your fridge for up to a week.
Oh, really?
And then use it. Yeah, and I'm going to experiment with brown rice flour, half and half with buckwheat flour to make a chocolate cake.
So will the byproducts of the process that's taking place over this 24-hour period or longer, if you choose, always create a somewhat sour taste?
Yes, and that's where the stevia comes in hand. I'm actually sugar-free at this point. I did a Candida diet several years ago, and now that I'm really low glycemic, I like to bake sweet treats with a non-bitter stevia. The brand is called New Naturals, and there's a liquid that's vanilla flavored. It's excellent. You can put a few drops in your tea or use a tablespoon at a time or a teaspoon at a time for your baked recipes. And they also have a powdered stevia for baking, and it says on the label non-bitter. And it's just wonderful to use that, maybe a teaspoon of that in conjunction with a whole sugar like grade B maple syrup, or a few tablespoons of raw local honey, or sucanat, or rapadura sugar is the other word for sucanat, or coconut sugar is another excellent one. And what the stevia does is it accentuates the sweetness of the natural, whole, unrefined sugar that's not so high glycemic.
We have a honey expert coming up on the show just after you, and so people can keep that in mind to use a local honey. I was happy to see at a farmer's market I was at yesterday, recording the final segment of this show today, that the people I buy my honey from have lowered the price a bit.
Oh, wow.
Because it was really, really expensive. The last time we bought a big mason jar, we buy their big one, and I think it was like $24 or something for this large jar, and I saw yesterday it was down to 20. I've seen it as low as 18. So he said that that it seems to be on the downward slide right now, which is good. Maybe that means some of their bees are coming back, because that was the problem they were having the last time when the price was so high. They said the bees, we know all those bee problems that have been out there.
I know, and I'm so glad you've been focusing on that and educating people, Randall.
Yeah, we're doing our best, trying to get the experts from throughout the nation to let people know what's happening. And so much of it always seems to come down to the exact same thing, those neonicotinoids, if I'm saying that correctly, pesticides that are out there that just are causing havoc. Okay, so you have this cultured flour that you've
mixture.
Let sit overnight, and then you just throw the other ingredients that would go into baking a bread or a cake or cookies, and you go from there. It's that easy?
Yeah, I'll bring that bowl out of the pantry and let it sit on the counter while I melt coconut oil or butter in I have a Pyrex measuring cup that's a 4-cup size measure, and I can put it on a super low flame, and because it's Pyrex, it won't crack, but it'll melt my coconut oil or butter in a couple minutes.
Oh, what a good idea.
It works way better. And then you've got it measured, and then okay, there's 1 cup measured fat, right? And then you're adding your nutmeg and your sea salt and your baking powder and your whatever, you know, and to get that liquid. Oh, and then your sugar, if you're using any, and or stevia, the combination of the two or either or, to the flour mixture, and then folding that together, whether you're hand mixing it or using a mixer, and then you're putting in your walnuts and your coconut and your dried cranberries or your dark chocolate chips,
Where do you get your coconut butter?
Well, coconut butter is a whole different thing than coconut. What I meant was dried coconut, like shavings.
Oh, but the stuff you were melting on the stove.
Oh, coconut oil.
Coconut
I get
oil.
it from, any health food store.
Has it?
And we order it a gallon at a time. We save a lot of money that way, and we keep it downstairs here in Los Osos underneath our staircase. Stays really cool. It's like 60 degrees down there. Year round, pretty much.
A lot of people that live in our listening area have that same general climate, so just find a place where it stays relatively cool.
Yeah, we put our beans, our grains, our olive oil, our bulk coconut oil down there, and we just bring up a half quart at a time or so upstairs to the kitchen for use over the next couple of weeks, because we can talk about rancidity of grains and oils and nuts in our next interview, because that's a whole big issue.
It is, and I've had stuff go that route, and it's such a bummer because nuts are not cheap. And
once you start eating fresh nuts, you can't go back. That rancid taste is just no good, and it's no good for the body either.
No. Courtney, I was just back in Texas, and I visited this farm where they still do things the way they did, more than 100 years ago, and it was fascinating. The kitchen was just filled with mason jars, and that's what we've got going on at our house, too. All right, Courtney Coleman. For more information, cookwell.org. Courtney, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Randall. You too.
All right, everyone, stick around. We're talking honey coming up next here on Market Fresh.
Hello there, I'm Josh Christensen, General Manager and owner of Sidecar Restaurant here in downtown San Luis Obispo. Fall is an exciting time for us here at Sidecar, as our latest seasonal menu is going to drop this week, full of Central Coast specialties and new and exciting items for you to come in and try. Our kitchen staff and chefs have put together an amazing new menu that I'm sure you're going to love, and our bar staff is constantly mixing up new and flavorful elixirs with some of the finest local, regional, and international beers, wines, and spirits. The new menu will include classic cocktails as well as house-infused spirits and some fun new concoctions that the bar staff has been dreaming up. Sidecar is located in the heart of downtown San Luis Obispo on Broad Street between Higuera and Marsh. You can find us online at sidecarslow.com or like us on Facebook to keep up with all of our goings-ons. We look forward to seeing you. Cheers.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
And a welcome back, everyone, to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour. I am your host, Randall White. 33 minutes past the hour, and great to have you with us, as always, here today. This portion of Market Fresh is brought to you by Sidecar Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo on Broad between Higuera and Marsh Streets. It's really right in the heart of downtown, but just far enough off Higuera Street so that it's more of a locals haunt. So if you want to experience sort of a non-touristy place, I highly recommend it. And whether you're considering brunch or a late night meal or just a really well-made cocktail, Sidecar's the place to go. A constantly changing seasonal menu with some favorites that get carried over, of course, including their amazing roasted Brussels sprouts. Whether you're a Brussels sprout fan or not, you should try them. At least try them, because I was a denier. I did not like Brussels sprouts, and they won me over. A wide array of vegan and vegetarian dishes, plus plenty of meat for the omnivores out there. Sidecar Restaurant in San Luis Obispo. You can find them online at sidecarslo.com. Okay, well, you hear us discussing the plight of bees a lot on this show. We try to educate you whenever anything changes or new information comes out, or if there's a large die-off of some sort, like the one we had up in Oregon not that long ago. But what we don't talk about all that much is a product that bees are well known for, honey, and ways that you can use it and how it's beneficial to you. We're very excited to have celebrity registered dietitian Mitzi Dulan on the show with us today to talk about some of the health benefits of honey, and she's representing honey.com. And Mitzi, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We should let people know, for those who don't, you are the team nutritionist for the Kansas City Royals baseball team. Also, you were with the Kansas City Chiefs, but here in California, you were the nutritional consultant for the Golden State Warriors basketball team, and also one of my favorites, the San Jose Sharks hockey team. So you're well versed in all things California and Bay Area.
Yes, I do love California, and I miss it so much. Miss the Bay Area. I was just out there recently, actually, so it was fun.
So
Miss the weather.
Mitzi, here in California, we have, especially at the farmers markets, we have lots of artisan or artisanal honey makers out there that bring their product to the farmers market. So you're able to buy honey that is from bees that are in the area that used flowers that are in the area. And so people like that connection to be able to know that the honey is coming locally and not from overseas, and that it's actually honey.
People do enjoy getting local honey, and there's actually a great website. You can go to honeylocator.com and actually find local honey in your area. And, it's exciting to be talking about honey and the energy that it gives you, and just how many people come to me as a registered dietitian over the years. Obviously, the professional athletes, they need that good energy, but I think a lot of the average clients, we're trying to get through the day with kids and everything like that, getting that energy, and that's what is exciting with honey, is that it is a natural energy booster, and just those carbohydrates in it give you that natural energy.
And a lot of us have that, mid-afternoon, early evening sort of slump that we go into following, maybe a large lunch earlier in the day, or it's just, getting late in your work day. You have 7 tips for breaking that slump.
Absolutely. Well, the very first thing you want to do in the morning is get that breakfast. From an energy standpoint, Randall, that really sets your day. And I have a breakfast recipe called the Honey Quinoa Breakfast Bake, and that kind of gets you started with your day. And then lunchtime, you can actually, one of my personal favorites that I have frequently throughout the week is actually a whole wheat sandwich then with some peanut butter, some sliced bananas, and some honey drizzled on it, which is delicious. And then that afternoon slump that you're talking about, do you have that sometimes?
Oh, for sure. Daily.
Daily. That is very common. And one of the recipes I developed working with the folks with the National Honey Board is a honey peanut butter protein energy ball. And it's so simple, and that's one thing I love about using honey in recipes, that honey itself is just one ingredient, and that one ingredient is honey.
Right.
In these energy balls, there are just very simple ingredients, and you just put them in a bowl, stir them up, and some of the ingredients include just old-fashioned oats, a little coconut, some almonds, a scoop of protein powder, as well as obviously the honey, some dried apricots, and some peanut butter. And you simply stir all those together, roll it into balls, put it in the refrigerator, and they're ready to go. And I love eating them after I go for a workout or in that mid-afternoon slump that we've been talking about. My kids also love when they get off the bus having those. So they're very, very tasty, and that's the great thing about honey is it's such a versatile culinary ingredient. So it can be used so many ways.
Well, we will provide links to both the quinoa bake and the honey protein balls on our program summary for today at eatdrinkexplore.com, and or you can just search them on honey.com as well. Let's talk about one of the tips you have, your energy break survival tip, is staying hydrated throughout the day. A lot of people, it's so easy to just reach for a brand name Gatorade or Powerade or something like that, but you can make a more natural one.
Well, you can. You can actually, and staying hydrated is such a key, but you can actually make your own by just adding some honey to water. So it's super simple, and add just a tablespoon to 8 ounces of water, and it dissolves really easily, and you can make your own energy drink at home, which is fun to do with the kids.
Right. And then you also say to mix a nut butter and honey. You mentioned that with your little snack, right?
Absolutely. You can, and there's so many great ways to to do that, but I just, and working with the Royals too, they have honey obviously out at the ballpark and in the clubhouse, and a lot of times what they will eat it before they go out for either batting practice or the game. So they do batting practice typically between 4 and 5 p.m., and then game times are typically around 7 o'clock. But a lot of times the guys are doing the sandwich I just talked about, where you spread a little peanut butter on a sandwich and then put banana on it, and then put some honey on it, and it's delicious with a glass of milk too.
Or even or some light cream cheese, as you say here, fresh fruits and vegetables. As well. Throw those in. And then you say to make sure, to keep consistent energy levels throughout the day, to select meals with adequate amounts of protein.
Yes. So it is really important, Randall, that we balance the carbohydrates and the protein. And that's, for example, the breakfast recipe I mentioned briefly, that honey quinoa breakfast bake, is the quinoa gives a little bit of protein as well as the chopped nuts. The energy balls, we have a combination of ingredients. So we get the carbohydrates from the honey and some of the other foods, and then we balance it out with a protein from the nut butters and as well as the scoop of the protein powder that's added to that recipe, because that just helps to balance it out and gives you even longer lasting energy when you have that 1-2 combo of the carbohydrates along with the protein.
Mitzi, do you have a favorite protein powder? I've been using one that's made up in Canada. It's a hemp protein powder that seems to work well for me.
Yeah, I actually really I like different hemp protein powders or whey protein powders. So I always like to read the different ingredients that are included. So, but I'm definitely a hemp protein powder fan.
Yeah, me too. I was turned on to it about a year ago, and it's been working really well. Then, as Mom always says, make sure you get your fiber. You say to keep your energy up, choose high fiber foods like whole grains and legumes.
Yes, it's all, and that fiber also helps with the long-lasting energy. And so when I mentioned that sandwich, then you do want that to be whole wheat, and you can add in, you get fiber from different beans, legumes. So whether it's using a can of black beans into a dish, sometimes black beans and cheese, but making sure you're getting that fiber. So reading the labels, and obviously fruits and vegetables also help you to boost your fiber. And that's always important, and I'm always trying to get the ball players to make sure they're eating their fruits and vegetables as well.
I bet that can be a challenge, especially in Kansas City with the barbecue and some of the food that they have there might not lend to this diet. Now
we had one player from Hawaii who would have fresh pineapple shipped in. So I love that.
Oh, cool.
But I missed it because he's no longer with the team.
Oh, bummer. So one of your tips here, the final one we probably have time for is, and I like this because you say to get plain or Greek-style plain yogurt and then mix honey in. You could mix fruit in as well. But that way that the yogurt you're buying isn't just loaded with all of that like high fructose corn syrup and stuff.
Right. You get to control it that way. It's very delicious. You can add the amount that you want. So just get that plain or the Greek style. And when you choose one of those two, you're getting a much higher protein content in your yogurt. So that is perfect. And then you just kind of drizzle some honey on top to make it delicious.
Yeah, well, it sounds good to me.
Sweet tasting and very yummy.
Mitzi Dulan, registered dietitian to the sports stars. You can find more information online at Mitzi, MITZIDULAN.com or honey.com. And of course, we'll provide all those links at eatdrinkexplore.com. Mitzi, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, stick around, everyone. You're listening. Join us for the 4th annual Central Coast Bioneers Conference, October 25th to the 27th at the Monday Club in San Luis Obispo. You will hear leading thinkers in ecoscience, social and environmental activism, the new food system economy, economics, and ecosystem restoration. Come away with knowledge on how each of us can play a meaningful role in facing today's world challenges. On Friday, our keynote speaker will be Drew Dellinger, founder of Global Poets for Justice. Enjoy the Green Chef Cook-Off Saturday night, October the 26th, with dancing to the Mother Corn Shuckers, wine, and a great selection of Figueroa Mountain beers. Tickets on sale now at centralcoastbioneers.org. That's centralcoastbioneers.org. This fall, Eat, Drink, Explore Media is teaming up with the nation's leading gift company focused on experiences from skydiving to wine tasting, culinary tours to whale watching. You name the activity, and it's likely you'll find it on the Experience Days website. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to our show, you'll get 15% off anything you buy on the site during the upcoming holiday gift buying season. It's really simple. Just use our 3-letter promo code EDE, which of course stands for Eat, Drink, Explore. Find Experience Days online at the letter Experience Days, all one word.com, or head to our website, eatdrinkexplore.com, and click on the menu tab for holiday gift ideas, and you'll be on your way to finding an abundance of unique gifts and saving a lot of money to boot. Remember the 3-letter promo code EDE for 15% savings on some of the best adventures California has to offer. Welcome back, everyone. It's now 49 minutes past the hour. Time for the final segment of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour. And keep in mind, there is a whole nother hour coming up. Great food, craft beer, wine, travel and tourism talk Sundays, 9 to 10 a.m. right here on this very station. This is our Farmers Market segment where we get some great ideas from market managers, vendors, and other players in the world of fresh produce. And today we've recorded the segment from the Atascadero Wednesday afternoon market. It runs from 3 till 6 in the afternoon and is held in the Albertsons parking lot on El Camino Real in downtown Atascadero. And I mean, it is not far off 101 at all. No sooner do you pull off 101 and boom, you're in the parking lot. So it's very easy on, easy off if you find yourself on that 101 corridor at all. The reason why we're here today is because the organization that runs this market, the North County Farmers Market Association, is instituting a new way to pay for produce. And it's all part of the federal government's SNAP program, which is administered in the state of California anyway under something called CalFresh. And there are these cards you can get, EBT cards, that allow you to pay for produce at markets that have the ability to take those cards. And currently in San Luis Obispo County, there are no other organizations taking those cards, but they have just started up here at the North County Farmers Markets. Mike Diamond with North County Farmers Markets Association joins us right now to talk a little bit about the challenge of getting all of this in place. It wasn't easy, was it?
No, it's been about a 3-year process. In the early days that we looked at it, we found that the requirements from the government were just so strict, and the need to have a person full-time to actually operate the machine and all that was such a burden that we kept putting it off. And finally, the state of California stepped in and realized that this was a big problem for the farmers markets and for the EBT beneficiaries, because the cards are like a credit card. They work fine in a store, but farmers have no way to process it. So it shut out all of the farmers. So the state took it on. The state now provides the equipment, provides the wireless service costs, provides the transaction costs. So all we have to do is provide the person. And that made it more reasonable for us, and we finally decided to take the leap and go for it.
Now, for some market managers out there that might be listening who have been considering adding EBT cards to their arsenal of ways that people can pay, while we said it was a big challenge, you would still encourage them to move forward with this?
Yeah, what we found was that actually the EBT part of it, we're doing two things. Along with the EBT, we're also processing credit and debit cards. 2 separate terminals, 2 separate processing accounts. But it's a similar thing, and it's another service that we can offer to our customers that makes it easier for the non-EBT customers. The EBT part of it is they've got it down. They know what they're doing. It went very smoothly. They told us we should expect 90 days. It was processed in 10 days. It went very well. The credit card part of it is a little more of a project. So
now you're involving banks and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was. We still haven't quite ironed all the kinks out on our end, but it works fine for the customer, and so we're going ahead with that too. And we think it's a good thing. We started it just yesterday, but we found that there's a lot of people who are really happy to find they can use their debit card and get some cash at the market.
Just in the short time I've been sitting here, people have been walking up and asking about it and saying, yes, it's something that they would like to do. And I like the fact that you guys run how many different markets?
4 markets. This one, we are in Baywood on Mondays in the afternoon, 2 to 4:30. Templeton, Saturday mornings, 9 to 12:30. And Paso Robles on Tuesdays, 3 to 6.
And once they sign up for this, they can use the card at any of those markets.
Right. And they can also, the way the program works is we're not allowed to give cash. So when you swipe your card, you get tokens. And that you can use the tokens. There's no time limit, today, tomorrow, next month, and at any of the 4 markets.
I did a similar thing using my ATM card at the farmers market in Santa Barbara, and they gave me the tokens, and I was wondering about that. We are kind of moving from a cash society, and I don't always have cash on me, and so I was really happy that they took the card there, the ATM card, and I imagine other people will be as well. And when we talk about feeding people that are food insecure, I'm so happy I feel like all of these programs were set up to eventually do exactly this. People are using the assistance that they're getting to buy nutritious food that'll help them move forward, and not this sort of stuff that you get in a food ghetto, or not a food ghetto, a food desert, where it is snack food and stuff like that. And I'm just so happy that you guys are offering this now here at the market.
In addition to offering the ability to swipe your EBT card, we're also, as long as we can afford it, offering a bonus. It's a dollar for dollar match up to $10 each time you visit the market. So each EBT shopper has the opportunity to come here and double their EBT benefit up to $10.
That's fantastic. Mike Diamond with the North County Farmers Market Association. And in the couple of minutes that we have left here, we want to talk about the need in San Luis Obispo for this sort of thing. A lot of times we think of San Luis Obispo County, it's the happiest place on earth. This is the place where people, move to live in sheer paradise. But no, there is a definite need here. And joining us is Chris Aho. He is the Director of Community Relations for the SLO County Food Bank. And I've dealt with the SLO County Food Bank in the past, and I know that need, it's not just there during the holidays when people start giving.
Right, and it's, 1 out of 6 people in our county, believe it or not, is food insecure, which basically means that they don't know where their next meal may come from. They may be somebody that just lost their job or, for whatever reason, they are not able to provide for their family, and so that's why the food bank's involved with this, because the food bank helps feed people in that kind of situation.
And I understand the food bank really helped move this process along. I know that whenever I was doing a sort of a food fundraising drive, we were always asking people to bring non-perishables, canned food, bags of rice, peanut butter. So now having these cards available at a market like this, that fills in the rest, the perishable portion.
Well, out of the 5.5 million pounds of food that we distributed in this county last year, 48% was fresh produce. A large part of our mission at Food Bank now is to provide nutritious, especially fresh produce. And this is it right here. And another program that we're very active with is the Whole Cow Fresh program. We have 2 coordinators, and they're going to be helping come and sign people up for that. Because right now, only about half the people that are eligible to be able to use these EBT cards are actually making benefit of it.
Chris Aho with the SLO County Food Bank, Director of Community Relations. Thank you for joining us. Mike Diamond as well. And I'm sure if you run a market and you want some questions, I'm sure Mike and his wife Sandra will be happy to help you. You can find them online, northcountyfarmersmarkets.com. For the food bank, it is slofoodbank.org. And that does it for the Market Fresh Hour. And another reminder, there is another hour straight ahead of great food, craft beer, wine, travel, and tourism talk, Sundays 9 to 10, right here on this very station. I'm your host, Randall White, for now, saying bon appetit.